Hello, good morning. Welcome back to Danley Duncan on preaching. Today I am going to share with you on special days. Preaching on special days, or might I put it in an imperative for you as an imperative. Preacher, preach on special days. Pastor, preach on special days. Let me start off by saying sometimes, especially as pastors, because we are accustomed to preaching all the time, that, when it comes to special days, we will quickly hand over those days. Um, you hand over those days to a brother, an elder in the church, or even to invite somebody to speak, or so on. But let me say to you, pastor, preacher, preach on special days. And when I say special days, I'm talking about just like yesterday, Mother's Day, Father's Day, um, different days like Easter weekend, if you have Good Friday service, and then you have Resurrection Sunday. Those special days that are there every year. And I want to encourage you, pastor, preacher, preach on these days. Why? Because many times persons who don't come to church would come on those special days, and you want to capitalize on that. uh, those days may be the times when there's the most people in church, all right, on those days. So those are not necessary rest days, pastor, all right. Those are very important days that you as the shepherd, and even if you're not the pastor, I would still say preach on special days. But why should you? What else? Why should you preach on those days, or how should you go about doing that? Well, once you are the pastor, I would say you will need to plan for those special days. They come every year. They're not new, right? They repeat themselves. You just have to find out which day, which Sunday they fall on, which days they fall on, and yeah, put it in your calendar on that day a sermon. Plan for it. Don't just uh, let the day approach. Remember, we spoke about planning your preaching. Well, preacher, you have to be planning your preaching, and in that includes special days. So Mother's Day was yesterday, and I took the opportunity to share on a passage that I would have planned my month of a month of May. And yesterday I preached on Genesis chapter 3 and verse 20. A very interesting verse. But the reason why I did that is because, again, it's a special day. It's Mother's Day. And but you realize just the verse doesn't really go in depth to tell you a situation about a mother, and the usual thing that we have sometime go for. So I would say to you, you have to plan your special days. Plan it. If your country celebrate a particular holiday that is not known around the world and is just specific to the country, plan it. Plan a preaching, plan a sermon for that day, right? And you want to as well preach unfamiliar texts. Like I said yesterday, I preached Genesis 3:20. That's the first time I am preaching on that verse. um I have preached on Genesis 3 already. I have definitely taught on it. But most time we think of Genesis 3, we're thinking of Eve eating the fruit and all of that. We are not thinking of that particular verse, Genesis 3:20, that Eve is the mother of all living. All right? And so I would say to you, preacher, preach unfamiliar texts. It's a good time to pull out one of those texts that they've never heard of before. But it relates to mothers, whether directly or indirectly. Remember, you are a preacher. That's what I keep reminding myself. And I keep saying to pastors and preachers as well, listen, you are a preacher. Don't limit yourself to one part of the Bible and limit your growth as well as a preacher. Telling yourself, oh, I can't preach that. Really? You have an entire Bible to preach from. Don't limit what God can do in your life as a preacher. It might be a difficult passage to preach from. Yeah, but that's where you're going to grow. You're not going to always get it easy, right? You're not going to always get it easy. And so you preach on unfamiliar texts as well. You preach different genres. So you, you don't have to stick to an historical account. Samuel's birth with Hannah in the temple, and she's crying out, and so on. And Eli, the priest, is saying, but is you drunk this time of the day? Or you go to Mary, being the mother of Jesus. It doesn't need to be a historical account all the time. You can preach from, you can take a proverb, packed with wisdom, right? You can take a psalm. You can even take any Bible passage, a passage from Revelation, the book of Revelation. You can go into the epistles, Ephesians, right, chapter 6, Colossians chapter 4. You can go into Colossians, you can go into the Gospels, you can go in the book of Acts, you can go in Genesis, hey, Leviticus, Deuteronomy. Pick one, right? Pick one. But don't limit yourself to just the historical accounts where somebody was barren and they didn't have a child and they get a child now. And don't limit yourself, right? You preach the word of God and be a man of the Bible, right? Also, you want to uh, don't limit the text to the day. What do I mean by this now? Don't limit the text to the day. Meaning, and I'm just going to say Mother's Day because Mother's Day was yesterday. Uh, don't limit the text to the text has an overtone of mothers, parenting, giving birth, um, conceiving uh, after a while, after years. You know, the text, you don't have to limit it to the special day. It could apply to the day. For instance, you could just choose a text that speaks on wisdom. It has nothing to do with mothers per se directly. But guess what? Mothers need wisdom. You could preach a text. Listen, the passage that says, the verse that says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Come on, there's so many mothers in fear. You understand what I'm saying? So don't limit the text to the day. So unless you see something with mothers, no, that text can. No. I don't want you to look at preaching in that way alone. Not that is not a bad way to look at it, right? Obviously, naturally we are human beings and we are going to look at the text. Yeah, Mother's Day, mothers, right? We are going to, but don't limit it to that. So you could preach on any text, and it's going to be applied to mothers as long as you properly prepare that message. That sermon is going to be applicable to everyone because even on that day, on that Sunday, you don't only have mothers in congregation. You have fathers, you have children. You understand? So you have to be preaching to the entire congregation. just be sensitive of the day. All right, just be sensitive of the day. So those are my 2 cents, on special days. All right, on special days, and I would even say look for ways to preach on the days that people don't expect you to preach. Preach 10 minutes. So what? Preach 15 minutes on Christmas program. Hello, share the word. You preach in season and out of season when is a good opportunity and when it's considered a bad opportunity. Right? You preach the word. You are a preacher, right? So I would say any special day, don't matter what it is, right? Look for opportunities to share the word of God. What did you preach on yesterday, preacher and pastor? What did you preach on yesterday? And for those of you who are not pastors, but you are preachers, and if you got a chance to preach on a special day, let's say on a Mother's Day, what would you preach, sir? All right, share in the comments. All right, and remember to like the video and share the video. And you can invite others to join as well. Share with others so that they can learn how um, to go about preaching on these special days. Until next time, this is Danley Duncan on preaching. God bless you.